Here we go, here we go, here we go. Welcome to the show. Let's talk about justice in the mix. Bring it close, no drink, drink, drink. Here we go. Welcome to the show, justice in the mix. Bring it with no drink. Saturdays are day to shine. Focus on books and storylines. Commentary. When the real never scary. Oh, justice dropping wisdom. Can't watch, can't miss out. Your mind, let the truth be known. From the things to deep dive into the legal things. Breaking down what justice means. Analyzing every clue we find. No stone left unturned, no mind left behind.
Hey, hey, yo, hey. You know, girl. Oh, you know what I forgot to change? Because I found it. Now I got to figure out how to change it. The rules for the chat. I found them. I found them because the rules say if you're going to comment in here, to be mindful that your comment must align with the discussion from one. And number two, it says something about no emojis, but we're not a no emoji zone anymore because I went and got this emoji thing. So we emojiing up. Let's go. Let's do this. Freedom. When you are free at last, you tell the people that you are free at last. When nothing's holding you back, the game is over. Yes. You think it's jiggy? Oh, wait a second. But now we gotta figure out. Hold up, this is the chat. Boom. We gotta move the chat around. Hold up. We gotta move the chat around. Cause we might have to put the chat up here today. I think the chat gonna have to go above my head. I think the chat is gonna have to go above my head. Let's see how that works out for us today. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we doing set changes around here. This is still me, this is still me like being goofy. Um, this is still me still being goofy, but hold up. Let's do wait a minute. That's not it. Hold up. All right. Hey Carla, we over here just checking out set sceneries and whatever. But today we gonna have a little bit of a conversation. We got a little bit of conversation. Okay. But don't get hyped because this ain't the real one. This the play one. But you gotta start when I was throwing out ideas. So we'll roll with this one tonight, but the real one, I can't tell y'all. The real one, I might just be copyrighted. Oh, you know what? You know what I didn't do? I'm gonna have to do this. Hold up. Hold up. Let me roll. I'm gonna remind myself to do something. Let me just write it down. I'll talk about it next week on that one. All right. So today's topics, or let me see, legal or litigation. That's what I should have gone. You gonna play some courtroom footage? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Because in some of them court cases, right? Like when they're covering the ones that are in Like the one I'm gonna talk about, which is Cash Out. Boy, I done named him all kinds of names today. Um, the reporters are not under a gag order, but the judge prevented them from putting out some um how long they been subbed. Are you sub to me? Mm. Is anybody a troll? Let me see. Hold up. You see how you're gonna play with me today? Yeah, I was just doing that because I was just hearing about people who let's see if that works. I'll be a little nicer. Cameron, don't hit me with the ugly stick. Okay. So, are you sub to me? Well, some people probably can't chat because they was mean to me. All right. I am not going through the block list. Not today. Not today. All right. So, anyway. Yes, the layers of security is real. All right, here we go. So, what I was saying about like on the Offset trial, first of all, he's being represented by I think he's being represented by the father son team that was in the YSL case, right? So because it is a sex trafficking case, I don't know why everybody be like SAs and all this other stuff over here, right? Um it's a sex trafficking case, and the details were very, very, they said, scavy. So the judge barred them from putting it out. Tonight, I'm going to watch in another hour one of the YouTubers who are from Atlanta has the closing arguments. So I'm going to watch the closing arguments, and I'm going to come back on Friday with Trial T, and we will discuss what I heard there, and if there is an jury verdict, then we'll discuss it because the jurors have it now. People believe it's going to be a speedy verdict. Um that they definitely have him on trafficking for the same element that they caught Diddy on, because of crossing those state lines and doing all that extra stuff, um or paying for it, pay to lay. I don't know what else to say. But you know what? Honestly, what can celebrities really do? Right? They need to they pay for everything that they get down to pay to lay, right? So it's kind of it's kind of double edged sword. I was explaining to somebody before I went live. I was like, listen, one of these states that you don't want to live in is Georgia. You just don't want to live in Georgia. It's not for it's big. If you live in Georgia and you really making money and you doing something that might be a little bit shady or might be a little questionable, you are a BMW, a black man wanted. That's what you are over there. Cause they want your money. They want your money. They want your money, and they going to take it. Oh, we all got international airports. I got one out here in New York. Actually, we got one in New York and we got one in New Jersey. But anyway, his mama. So Cash Out mama's on trial with him because she was picked up in the act of bribing or interfering with a witness. This stuff can't get no more serious than that. Um, So we'll see. I'll go and listen. They already told us what time they're gonna drop it, so I'll go drop it like it's hot over there and listen to it. Um, the Matthews, that's the name of the attorney over there, Matthews, which is the attorney. Matthews, he be getting the real cases, like he be getting the real criminals. Cause remember in the YSL case, he had the dude that was doing all like never been arrested ever in his life, Huey, the one that had all of the robberies and everything. It was like he was like the I don't know, he was like the big hit man running around robbing people and taking all their clothes. He done got his mama caught up. Can you just imagine? Like his mom was like, "That's all right, I got you, boo. I'ma call the little chicken head. I'ma call the little chicken head and meet her at her appointment." And then it was all a whole big setup. Yeah, that's just crazy. Anyway, more to come on that. But while we talking about Atlanta trials, yeah, Huey. Yeah. I didn't even like Huey, to be honest. I was like, some of these people just too much. But Thug, uh, first of all, do you guys watch Seti Nash? Now you know I'm a small YouTuber over here, right? But these are the big YSL YouTubers, right? We're gonna talk about YouTubers trying to become part of the record after the fact. But Seti Nash just put out a whole series of videos from Thug Sister Darla talking mad crap about I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is what they said happened, but we never know because sometimes when somebody come for your son, let's just I'm a mama. Somebody come for my son, I'm making beelines. Like I don't I can't. I forgot. I can't do story time up here no more on the internet. Cause when I tell people stories and they turn them into whatever they is, and then it be like whatever. But I've taken me out a couple of people. I rolled up. I rolled up and pinned people with my car. Brrr, for mine. I sure did. I certainly did. I watched the YSL Charlie mostly the lead attorney AV to the seventh power. Yeah, that's the one I don't like. Why you have to watch AV to the seventh power? I don't like she Carla, wait a minute. I'm getting that ghost out of me. Cause I was just gonna speak bad on my neighbor. Shout out to AV. But I'm just saying, I wasn't a fan of AV. That's all I'm gonna say. Mm. But I hope lead attorney is doing better. Girl, I was just having chipmunk dreams. I was just thinking like, that's every time I see her, I think of the chipmunks. It'd be like Alvin, you know, the three of them I was thinking about every time I see her, especially when I just see her by herself. But she is so cute though. Like when I like at least when she live streams, she's all dressed up. Like she's really serious about it. But nevertheless, and she hired real people to like edit her videos and do all that other stuff. So that was really good. Alvin, Simon, Theodore. That's what I always think of when I see. That's the image that comes to my head. So I don't know if that's a bad thing, but that's the image that I get. Anyway, why was I gonna talk about Darla? Cause she dissing everybody in the YSL case. But Sadie put out a video over there and he was like, yo, this why this is trial tea over here. I'm giving it to you. I'm like, all the tea. Oh, shout out to lead attorney. I hope he's doing better. You know, he has some medical concerns, so I'm just hope he's doing better. Um, keep him in your prayers and thoughts if that's what you do. But if you do it from a bad place, keep it to yourself. I'm just saying. I know a lot of people whose channels blew up under his influence, and they are convinced that he's a mother freaking man. So that is what it is. Um, so I told you about Dora. All right, so now Thug himself has now requested to have a reduction in his probation. And Brian Still done came out here. All right, Brian Still done came out here. We'll see you when you get back. And filed some paperwork. So we now waiting to see what the response is from the prosecution. And guess what? As soon as we have their response, then I will pull up what was written in the response. I hate to look at things one-sided. I want to hear what he said, and then I want to hear what she said, and then I want to come back. I will tell you though, y'all remember do Mong Tong. Yeah. You can love you some Brian Steele, but he is like appeals attorney 101. I'm still waiting to see if there's a response in the Blaylock. Um, if you don't remember who Blaylock is, he is the YSL defendant that Brian Steele represented in the appeal. They're the ones who were found guilty of him and Little Rod were found guilty of the execution of the dude. I don't know why these people be using that word unalive, but it's execution. An execution of the dude that was in the car. That we had the two things. So we're waiting for the decision in that case, and it should have been out by now in the summer. So I'm like in pins and needles waiting to see what it is. That's wrapping up on Brian Stell. Now talking about Montunk. Montunk has found a Montunk has found. See, that's Haitian to me. I always thought that when I hear them say Montunk, I'm always thinking Haitian, like some kind of Haitian descent. But anyway, he has filed another motion dealing with the fact that he was reincarcerated for violating. See, this is what's gonna make this so hard. He can file all of the motions he wants that he violated that he had a probation revocation. So his probation was revoked. And basically what he's saying is the amount of time that I was given was unfair and was unjust because it's not lawful, right? And so he's challenging it. But his offense was the perjury on the stand. And that don't matter. That it had that it's a parole violation, right? Like, yes, he violated parole, but what's the offense or probation? The offense is you have a perjury violation. So it doesn't matter what it is because if I went up there and I testified on there, right, and I was found guilty of perjury, it wouldn't matter what my sentence was in something else. You're not doing time because of that. You're doing time because you perjured yourself on the stand. That's what those 5 years is for. So going back to Paige and being like, listen, all she gonna do is even if she makes a modification, it's not gonna get him out because the reason why he's incarcerated is because of the perjury. Now, if you would have to prove the perjury wasn't real because of the actions that him and that last attorney engaged in. You got to some way deal with the facts of what he sworn to in that affidavit in the first place. So we'll see what comes out of it. So it's just an unfortunate thing. Okay. So we'll see as soon as I get Thug's probation papers, we'll come back and we will see. We will show it. On a side note, let's talk about Fonnie. Fonnie Willis. Is that her name? Anyway, Fonnie was on the scene and she was cornered by some reporters and they had some questions for her. And they wanted to know, like, yo, how do you feel that you wasted all this money prosecuting this case? And she is still standing 10 toes down. Shout out to her. Because it's only where can you find a prosecutor, right? Let's just be real, right? That goes under oath and lies about hiring her lover, who she claims wasn't her lover, who was married to some other, and then wasn't married no more, but then got a divorce. And like, who the hell is the messiest DA across the land? Shout out to her, but that's what she does. And that's what she done did. And she's doubling down on the amount and the cost. She said that the trial still resulted in however many convictions, whatever it was, and she got people off the streets, and the streets is much safer for a large period of time. Anyway, shout out to Fanny for being a messy boo, because at the end of the day, she's still cleaning up the street and doing all the other stuff and getting herself in trouble along the way. The only reason why I don't cover her downfall or her demise is because it's a personal, pet peeve of my own. I saw her and another DA at a time when we didn't have women black DAs. So I am extremely disappointed in their fall from grace in my place, like in my head. So I can't cover them just out of an abundance of me saying, oh, wow. But, fair game if I wasn't biased. Oh, somebody said I was biased this week, but whatever. I just don't want to cover her and the chick from DC. I was just not I just not willing to deal with their demise, because I just think of women as black excellence, especially when we rise in the field that I love so much. And then you got this happening. There's so many great females attorneys to talk about. Um, um, was it the title that really changed her? And thank you for staying on topic. I truly appreciate it. Was it the title that changed her as much as it was the power behind it? See, I think you could clearly see when there was a when stuff hit the fan with her. And let me tell you when that was. That was when the two things happened. The What's her name? The lady who was the mayor of Atlanta. Can't think of her name. Bottoms. Lance Bottoms. Is it Lance Bottom? Yeah, but when you do say that the title changed her and I said the power changed her, the title did come with power, but it also came with, I don't know, it's Atlanta. So it came with the demographics. I mean, we learned a lot about the different wards and stuff. All right. So when Keisha Lance, are you sure? Because I always get her mixed up with the mayor that's in DC. So if I got the name wrong, y'all Google it, write it in my comments on replay. We'll straighten it out next time. But when Lance Bottoms, if that's her name, dropped out, didn't run again and went to go work in the Biden administration, I believe things changed severely over there. And in Atlanta, the situation that happened with the guy at the Wendy's that was murdered and that by the police officer, and then the police officer was subsequently arrested, and then everyone said they rushed to judgment and didn't give the police officer due diligence, and then the police officer sued them, and they could never do anything with him, and it just became the murder at the Wendy's, and then the neighborhood burnt down the Wendy's, and then there's no more Wendy's. I think that whole scandal and that whole period of time just yeah, her name is Keisha. Yeah, her period of time just fell, and then there's this YSL trial that I think, as a prosecutor, now this is just me, right? I don't want to do no work in no office either. Right? I don't like overseeing people's either. But I still sometimes have to get dirty and get my hands in it. If you feel that way about your trial, then you should have been in there. See, in Minnesota, is it Minnesota, where we had the trial of George Floyd's people. Guess who was in there? The Attorney General was all up in there. Now, he didn't try the case, but he was in the courtroom for a significant period of time, definitely at critical periods of time. That's what she needed to do. She needed to get down there and be in there. But because she was having to deal with the Donald Trump case that fell out the water because of the other attorneys that, bottom line is that Atlanta, when you hear Atlanta, you should hear corruption. And she became part of the problem. I personally would have shut down that whole Fulton County courthouse after what we saw in the YSL case. Yeah, no, they don't have credit. Their credibility has been hit. Like it's questionable. All right, well, more to come over there. Let me see if there's any more. Are there any more Atlanta cases, Atlanta trials? Because I couldn't remember if I missed anything. If I missed anything. I did see, talking about that YSL case. I did see some interviews recently with my dude Yak Gotti. Shout out to Yak. You know Yak was mine. I was like Yak, and I ain't chased the I ain't chased down the other one to see how long her pregnancy is gonna go, because we knew she was gonna get pregnant anyway. You know Bumpus. But nevertheless, I didn't waste my time trying to figure that out. But I guess if I just go to X, I can get an update. You know, Woody just found himself incarcerated because he's sitting up there on the street doing what is he doing? Circles, donuts, whatever, whatever. Listen, Atlanta, you lock these people up for eons. They finally getting outside and they not tearing up your city, doing the other kind of crimes. Like, they not running around shooting the stuff up. They not running around drugging it up. Can they at least throw willies in the middle of the street on a Friday night at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Can they at least do that? Can they at least do that? Like, y'all gonna act funny. Let's be serious. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. We even have a spot where the guys do that at. And we as we was always there, all dressed up, couldn't wait, hair done, nails did, clothes on deck, strutting our ass over there. I might have even been the girl that threw the flag. Like, come on, what's the name of the movie? Oh, what is it? What is it? What is it? No, 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 no. Ooh, ah. It's not Happy Days. Oh, what's the movie? With John Travolta and what's that lady's name? Oh, Shanana, Dua, Dua, Dua. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, I love going in the drag strip, watching the race cars. Some others like, girl, I don't even know why they hating. They know that this is something that they do right now. Something should happen and it went wrong. They not shooting out each other on here. Like, come on already. But I do understand that it's a major violation of the traffic laws or whatever. But I'm just thinking about all the things that we heard that they was doing, like the drive-bys and everything. Like, this is what you mad about right now? I know, I know, I know. What is that story? Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't. It's not Happy Days because that's the thing. Oh, now I gotta go do some looking up something, and that's it. Uh, I hear the song in my head. Um, John Travolta. Is he still alive? Travolta, I guess. And now I forgot her damn name. What did I say the lady's name was? Olivia. Grease. Couldn't think of it. Having that moment. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Y and W. I got the letters right. No. you you went to Hairspray. I can't. I can't. I can't. It's Grease. I don't. But he was in that movie. Courtroom drama commentary. YNW Nelly. My dude from Florida. I'm stuck with this one, Mr. Demons. Mr. Demons. That man is alive. He is alive. He's 71. But he was in Greece. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Shana. Did he? All I remember is the last scene when it's like the last day of school. First of all, let's just be real. Them the oldest ass high school looking kids I ever did see. I'm just saying. Um, just crazy. Well, you could have said you could have said Feed Me Seymour. You could have said that movie, but it didn't have him in there as one of the people. You talking about John Travolta? I know, girl. Okay, okay. I'm messed up in the game. I know. I know. I know. This is crazy. All right, Mr. Demons. Now his trial is set for September 9th. I think the next time I go live, I'm gonna have to put up a poll and just ask anybody if they really think he's going to trial on that. You might remember he is a rapper um from Florida who had a hung trial or mistrial, whatever, however they classify it as. But he's on death. It's a death penalty case, and he's accused of murdering his two business partner. Um, a lot of people believe he might get out. Right? Is it going to be for the statute of limitations? Is it going to be for the violations? Like this would be the worst case ever because it might be for the violation against attorney-client privilege because the prosecutors and they are grimy, and so let's put it on what it got to be put on. Whoever the lady is, attorney, I can't stomach her. I'm like, she's weird. Oh, she's just a weirdo to me. It's just weird. And then she acts like I don't know. It's just it's creepy. But then I guess it's creepy being on trial for execution style, taking out your colleagues in your like they made up this rap group. Charge it to the game of life for Monica because I know nothing about these rappers, but I do know that he was a rapper and he had two partners and they ended up dead and they was all together. Yeah. Yeah, so they said that she allowed him to use the phone or something when she was back there. Like she just broke all the rules and she may have been involved in witness tampering. So what they did was they had a dump of her telephone, her iPhone dump. And the only reason why she found out that her iPhone, that they got a subpoena and had her iPhone records, is that the company notified her that they were complying with the court order. So that's called notification. So they put her on notice as your provider. So even though the government hits you with hits them with the subpoena request and they have to comply, they also have a duty to their customer, which is you. And so they just put her on notice that they had complied. So then she wanted to know what they got. So this judge is a hot mess. He's like, okay, listen, they're your phone records. They got your phone records. Like, you should be able to go to your phone. It's like somebody saying to you, yo, listen, go pull the logs, all right? Go look at your phone and look at the messages between whoever you sent messages to. And guess what? You'll have an idea of what they have. So they've been asking for the scope of this, whatever, whatever. So the judge has been like kind of on the fence, like with them with this. It's crazy, but he really felt like Damon should get himself a new freaking attorney. But instead of him getting himself a new attorney, he just sat up here and was like, "Nah, I'm gonna hold on to them." Now I'm gonna tell you, in terms of strategy, if you got these people that done messed you all over because of all this stuff that's going on, I'm keeping them too. Because when I switch to the new attorneys, they're going to say that it was a curative measure. And any damage that I suffered from the other attorneys is null and void at this moment because you cured it by getting good new attorneys. Yes, I will hold on to those defective attorneys until the end of this because there might be a chance to, rectify it in an appeals process. But what I think is sad for the whole story is when you hear the parents of the decedents in the case and you think about what does justice look like. So while we all take homage in the process and say that we want to have a fair justice system, right? Sometimes we forget that there are victims in the equation, right? We be so committed to making sure that the defendant gets a fair trial that we forget that there are decedents and their loved ones like to have a fair trial too. And um I believe that people are innocent until proven guilty, but I think there's a lot of evidence that worked against him in this case. Yes, and they have to go through this all over again. But I think the evidence that came out that he was in the vicinity of the car when the car, like he was never even thought about until they dropped phone records and it showed a whole different story. He wrote some interesting songs while he was incarcerated too about some interesting things. So him a little weirdo anyway. When you see him in the courtroom, I just be like, oh. But then I look at his mother, his sister, and stuff, and I know he comes from a family that loves him too, right? Everybody, it's always, it's just like, girl, you ain't never lied. Me too. Me too. Me too. So we're gonna have to wait and see how they put this down here. But now the prosecutors are like stalling again, and they have submitted a brief to the higher courts for consideration. Basically just a tactic to delay the trial. But I think that is cruel and unusual punishment, how they are keeping him in his current state. Listen, this dude, like, imagine you are this famous person and you got all this money and you living large, right? On the outside with freedom. Now imagine you get incarcerated and you done tore up the jail so bad that they got your behind in a section all to yourself. That where him at. in a section all to himself. Like he done turned toilet bowls over and everything. So he's just sitting there like, ugh, he's doing so much. Okay. Oh, so those are any other cases out there that I didn't cover just in my I'm trying to be lightheaded tonight because I haven't covered what I want to cover, in a minute because I was distracted. But Diddy, y'all call him Diddy, but Mr. Combs is gonna have his sentencing hearing the 90 days after. So we'll be back in October. I guess they decided to wait the 90 days. But now with the removal of the DA, I wonder if that was in the works when they decided to keep the 90 days out. See, when you have a president who usurps all of his power, that believes he's I don't even know what you want to call this because I've been trying to stay off of Trump. But when you just keep interfering, there are three levels of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Stay in your branch. So I don't know how messy this is going to become. You got the Epstein stuff that just disappeared. I don't even understand. I don't even understand this stuff. Just that there are some hurt individuals and there's some greedy people who took their sexual pleasures and got them by any amount necessary or any way necessary. People do believe it is a mighty cover up, and that there had always been talk of number 45, 47 having been one of the people in this little black book. But the fact that I heard some of the hearings today, and in the hearing, um, there was a statement made by one of the legislators, one of the senators. It's Cory Booker. Yeah, he's a senator. And one of the senators, yeah, because they were talking about securing a judge. But at the end of the day, this is a lot. This is a lot when you can't separate the different levels of government, when you just can't separate the executive branch from the judicial branch from the executive, legislative, judicial branches, when they all are running by the executive branch. It is so unfair to we the people that it's not even funny. Um, the question is, if you allow it to be taking done this way now, imagine what's going to happen in the years to come. You don't have any more separations of powers. You don't have any separations of powers to really lay your head on. With that being said, I want to talk about a construct here that somebody brought up. And the word was conceding election. And I said, listen, I listened to the breakdown and was like, listen, once a person concedes, they can't take it back and go forward with that because they conceded. And I said, I have an exception to that. So and so conceded. He's still in the race, right? He's still running for mayor. So that's going to be Andrew Cuomo. And the argument is, well, he conceded as the Democratic Party, and now he's running as an independent. I agree, but he's still in the race. And that's the problem. Just because somebody concedes, right? I said they would still find a way to still address this issue if you don't put it to bed properly. The only way that he's going to go away right now, Cuomo, which I'm shocked, but the only way he's going to go away now is if he sees that there's no path forward If he see the going away means that there's a path forward for the current mayor to win. And most people don't believe that Adams has a path forward, which is why he's standing firm in that position. Um, that politics right there, taking away the word concede and being an issue, why I looked at the concede, but overall, just looking at his ability to run and win or have a significant number of votes as an independent is going to shake the big the two big groups. We've never had an independent that can garner enough votes to win. Now, in the Democratic primary, only anyone who registered as a Democrat could vote. But when you're in the main election, you didn't have the voters of the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and the Independent Party available to vote for person. Name recognition could work in his favor, and you could have people cross over that were not registered Democrats that voted, who then cross over so he can retain his registered Democratic votes that he got. Plus, inherit the Republican voters because no one's voting for the dude Fleetwater with the Guardians Angels dude. I cannot see Republicans putting their money into the Guardian Angels guy. I'm sorry. I just can't. They are, but they aren't. So you can he can get some of those votes, but so could the candidate, and I don't want to say no slurs. So can the candidate that's running now in the lead that beat him. Now, I don't know what polls these Democrats keep depending on, but I can tell you one thing. He thought he was in the lead until the day of the election when some poll came out and said he wasn't in the lead, he being Cuomo. And then he was behind by a significant number. But I think certain demographics were cheating. Personally, me, that's just me. Um, just on the belief that they've got relatives everywhere and anywhere, and I feel like that is a new community up and rising, and I got my twisted eye on them. All right, so with that being said, there's more to come in the New York City mayoral election. That's a very important election because it's one of the sanctuary cities. It's one of the cities that could definitely stand up to the current administration just to hold the toll of having freedoms of rights. I mean, today it's this issue. Tomorrow, today it's the immigrants. Tomorrow is something that's dear and near to you that you have not lost as of yet, but is on the cutting block. I remind people that in 2020, we had already dealt with 4 years of someone that forgot to, close the borders down. We had a pandemic because of mismanagement, period. So at the end of the day, when you see all this stuff going down, you really need people that are going to hold people accountable. But it's a there are people who are seeking change, and with change comes opportunities for there to be a new perspective. Ooh, why did I even use that word? A new strategy in place for success. People don't want to be stuck in the same old trends and have the same old leadership. If you remember when the Bushes, this is the same cycle when George Bush and his brother Bush and the mother came out and said, okay, so every time, right? This is George Bush, the second George Bush who won, right? She said, how many Bushes do we have to take to be in office for this to stop? Like, this is just enough, right? And we just this is not for us. There has to be some other kind of candidate. There has to be some other kind of voice, and there has to be some other kind of approach. Anyway, that is my trial tea for this week. Um, let me know what you think about it. Deep dive in it. Hit me in the comments. Let me know what it is that you're interested in seeing. If there's a case out there that you want me to chase. I'm not into everything. I still haven't been. Um, I used to really pick the cases based on interest or if I thought the case offered some strong talking points or something that was of interest that you could like really take some words out of it. Like you could really look at it and say like, "Oh, this has an issue that is very important and it was decided this way or whatever." But let me know. Thanks for joining me. I get to be me and play my music. I just love my music. Let's go.